Joe, we have a couple of more questions that
Okay.
have come in. One person says that her husband lives with his affair partner 800 miles away and they don't have any kids together, but they are in contact about once a month. He did raise her son for the last 8 years and said that he still wanted to have a relationship with him. He said that he would give it a week and contact the son, who's now 20 years old, but it's been 3 months and there's been no relationship with the son. Is it guilt and shame? Or how can any contact happen with him now that he's gone completely silent?
Okay. I understand why you would ask a question like that, like, is it guilt or shame? We are people, particularly Americans, we are people who want to know why people do what they do. I guess that's one of the legacies of Freud. Sigmund Freud came along and started talking about understanding what's actually going on in people's minds, and we have evolved to that where now that everybody wants to know what's in the other person's mind. And what I need to explain here, if I can, if I may, is that I can't tell you why, and nobody else can tell you why, even though there are many people who'll tell you exactly why. What I mean by that is if you say to somebody, is my husband doing that because of guilt and shame? There are X number of people are going to say, oh yes, that's definitely what it is. X number of people are going to go, no, actually it's this other thing altogether. This is what's going on. And what they're doing is either they're basing it on their own experiences and projecting their experiences into yours, which may not fit, or what they've seen other people or heard other people go through, and now they're projecting that into yours. And that does not give any accuracy at all. Could they guess correctly? Always possible that somebody guesses correctly, but nobody on the planet can tell you why your husband's doing what he's doing, or as a matter of fact, he may not even be able to tell you why. You say, what do you mean? I'll guarantee you there have been times when you've done things and you thought to yourself later, why did I do that? We're not always completely in touch with our own motivations, not always completely understanding of why we do things, much less why other people. So I can't tell you why. No one on earth knows except him, and he may not. Now, you say, okay, we have no business together. In terms of kids, I can't make him contact the kid that he helped raise. We have no business together. We have no other kind of business together. He's 800 miles away. He's with her. The only way I would know that you would have a reason to contact him is if you are not yet divorced. In other words, if you were contacting him about that. Say, hey, this is something that's come up. This is something we need to talk about, something we need to deal with, or whatever, like I need alimony, child, whatever it might be, then that becomes a thing for you to talk about in business-wise. Otherwise, if that's not there, then fabricating it is not possible. And I know this is frustrating, and I know people want us to say, tell me the thing I can do to make my husband or wife, who's way over there, that we have no reason to contact each other whatsoever because no kids, et cetera, et cetera. What can I do to make him talk to me or her contact me? If there's some magic way to do that, I certainly don't know what it is. As a matter of fact, I don't believe in magic like that. There's nothing you can do to make that happen. Now, sometimes we talk about a Hail Mary, where people just try the one last thing because there's nothing else to lose, and so you write the long letter telling about how much you love him, talking about the kind of things you did in the past together that you wish you could have another chance with each other. And if there's absolutely nothing to lose with doing a Hail Mary like that, give it a shot. I mean, fly over there and knock on his door if you want to, but understand that if you do the Hail Mary, whether it's a letter, going to see him, whatever it might be prepared that it may have a negative consequence. And don't get upset if it does. Or it might have a neutral consequence. Don't get upset if it does. If you're going to do a Hail Mary, understand it's just a shot in the dark. And if it works, wonderful. If it doesn't, don't get mad. Don't get upset. Don't get sad. It was all over to begin with. But I don't know how you make somebody contact you that has no reason to, unless there's some legal reason to, and it sounds like there's not that here, or unless you want to do that just Hail Mary kind of thing. No, I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear. You wanted me to tell you something, oh, just do this. And I get that, I understand. So here's what I tell you to do. We talk about a thing called PIES, P-I-E-S. And if you go through our stuff on our website, marriagehelper.com, you can see about it. You go through podcasts on Spreaker.com, we talk about it. You can buy my book, The Art of Falling in Love. We talk about it. That's when you work on yourself physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually to become the best person you can. You say, but if he's 800 miles away, how does that affect him? It may never. But if you have any kind of mutual connection, anybody that knows you that also knows him, that might be talking to him, if they see you becoming the best you can be physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, then they might at some point tell him that, which might lead to some positive consequences. It's not a guarantee, and certainly don't set him up. Hey, you need to call him and tell him how I've changed. That's not a good idea either. But even if nobody ever tells him, that's still the best thing you can do for you. And if you're doing those things and doing them well, there's a slight chance, a little chance that it might get to him and make a difference. But at least it's something you can do that's positive, and that it always will have a good effect for you no matter what.
Absolutely. Doing those pies absolutely makes a huge difference. And if you're watching this live, then I believe next week we're going to be talking more about the pies, the 4 steps to becoming the most attractive you can be. And if you're watching this later and you're like, man, where can I see that? Look on our other YouTube videos. We're going to have more about those as well. It's a topic that no matter where you are, single, married, divorced, kids, wherever you are, the pies makes a difference for you as a person.
As a matter of fact, if you have single friends, ask them to tune into this thing next week.
Yeah.
Because of the tune in, that's an old TV phrase. I don't think we use that anymore. but ask them to watch next week, because we're going to be talking about also how the pies work for single people if they truly want to develop a good relationship with somebody else. So it won't just be now about marriage problems and crisis next week. We'll talk about pies in the terms of relationships in general. So if you have a single friend or a bunch of single friends out there, tell them, hey, you need to come watch this thing this week, because that's going to be directly applicable to you and any relationships in which you might be now, or any future relationships you might have.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It is going to be good. When you said tune in, it reminded me of the fact that kids nowadays don't know what a telephone ringing sounds like dialing the number and calling. There's no ring anymore. It just answers. Isn't that strange? That's just so strange to me. All right, so the next question we have that is right
And
here.
I hope that made your day a lot better.
It's just so fascinating. At least for a jet lagged person, it's very fascinating.